This is High Noon and welcome. Are you prepared to draw? I hope so. And I don't mean any of that liver lizzy gun slinging stuff. And I don't mean any of that arty stuff. I'm here to do that. You all will just draw together, become family, friends, help each other, support each other, all that stuff. This is a place to have a good old time, friends and frolic, and all that stuff. Okay? This is it.
Hello, one and all. How are you all today? We just shared it out. Give me a sec. I gotta bring up the chat. So today, as you know, is a biblical story or biblical event, and we are going with Samson today. So I hope that so. All right. Just so people can see, I'm going to do straight to marker, so this might not look the best necessarily. So hopefully, not sure what this is going to look like. So, the story of Samson actually starts with his parents. And this was a guy named Zora. And they lived somewhere in Israel. Now, these people were unfortunate because for Zora and his wife of Manoah, she was barren, unfortunately. She had not been able to give birth. So that meant they were without child. So of course she was sad. But one day an angel came to her and said, "Hey, God has seen your plight. Well, he didn't quite say it. He said, you are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son. But this son cannot drink booze. Well, it says the fruit of the vine, wine. So, any alcoholic drink, basically, this guy could not drink. This was a big no-no. Nada. Nit. And he also couldn't cut. They couldn't cut his hair. So these were a no-no too. No scissors. Forget running with scissors. Now you can't even cut with scissors. Or cut hair anyways. Let's see. No razor. Because this little boy that she was now going to have was going to lead Israel. Or deliver the hands of their people from the hands of the Philistines. These Philistines are a big menace to the Jewish people, it seems. This is even before David, so that we were talking about a couple weeks ago. And he could not eat anything unclean, so, no bacon for Samson. No bacon. No pork chops for Samson. So, poor Samson was limited in what he could eat and drink. Samson just gets a glass of water. So, the boy grew up. Hey, Mallet. Are we still not doing cross comics? What do you mean still not doing cross comic stuff? Telling a Bible story isn't cross comic stuff? Or trying to draw it as I go along quickly? Title says Titan. What? Okay, mine. You. Let's review event. Okay, mine says hi name with Cross Comics. So I don't know why yours says Titan. Or is that the thumbnail? Did I grab the wrong thumbnail? That's even wrong. Okay, so should have the right thumbnail now. Hopefully that is solved. Now let me check. Yeah, well, he's saying today apparently. Okay, the thumbnail is right now. Okay, so I guess back with so she gave birth, obviously, and they named him Samson. Simpson. So Samson, of course, never cut his hair. That saved him a lot of money, probably never having to go to the barber. But because of this, Samson was able to be the strongest man that had ever lived. Well, at that point. Or, and it says for up to, the point that it was written. I'm not sure whether anybody's ever been stronger than Samson since, things were written. In my fictional universe, there's going to be people stronger than what Samson was, I would say. But then again, he could have possibly had unlimited strength. Because usually it says, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. So it was God supernaturally strengthening him at those times. And probably did so whenever he needed it. So let's give Samson a nice hairy chest. Here. And some shorts. We're making Samson into the Hulk. No. But Samson met a woman. Jeez. That he really liked, and she was a Philistine. A Philistine. So, Samson wanted to sleep with the enemy. He wanted to get married. He had arrangements made. I think she even liked him too. And this was in a town named Timnah. And this was really against God too, because God had actually said for, them not to marry among, in the law, marry amongst other Israelites. So, Samson got it so he could marry her. He got his parents to, make all the arrangements. Although his parents did not like this in the least, because they wanted him to marry a Israeli woman. But this was not Delilah. So they were engaged to be married, and he went to go down to oh, he was on his way to somewhere. Sometime later, he went back to marry her. Turned aside. He went down together with his family as they approached the vineyards, and suddenly a lion came upon them. This lion was vicious, obviously. But Samson wasn't scared. Because the Spirit of the Lord came upon Samson, and he took that lion's jaw and he broke it. And this ultimately killed the lion, of course. So him and his parents were safe from the lion. But sometime later, he was coming by there, and he seen the carcass of the lion. So he saw all the bones, and there happened to be a beehive in the lion's thing, and it was just dripping with honey. So you had all the bees floating around. Buzz, buzz, buzz. It's like, hmm. So while he was at getting married, he ended up getting in some sort of a thing. He was sitting down. He's like, let me tell you a riddle. And if you can guess my riddle, I'll do something for you. I forget what it was. Get 30 garments for them. 30 sets of clothes. So this would have been a lot. So he said, out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. And of course, they had gave him a little bit of time. And his wife acted all sad. They came to her and got her to try and get the answer out of Samson. I like this idea of doing these stories, but I'm not sure how well it works. But she acted all sad because her fellow Philistines came to her and convinced her to get the answer out of her husband, Samson. She acted all sad. Well, you haven't told me we have to do the riddle! You baby! Cause you haven't told me we have to do the riddle, don't you trust me? And he says, come on, I haven't even explained it to my mom and pa. So why should I explain it to you? And then she just kept on sobbing for a week. Pouting. It's like, you haven't told me. Although you would think by this time, over a week has gone by, you would think there'd be a time limit on this riddle, but apparently there wasn't. She's like, you haven't told me the answer. You hate me. It's a nagging wife, right? So finally he gave in. And he told her, he explained it to her. Christopher sees question marks. What, you want to know what's going on when I'm drawing? I'm trying to go over the biblical story of Samson and trying to draw bits and pieces of it as I go along. Finally he gave in to her. And she went to her fellow Philistines. and spilled the beans, as one might say. She explained the answer to the riddle Samson had given them like 2 weeks prior. So they went at that point. They went to him and answered his riddle, and so then he had to provide them the 30 garments and the linens that he had promised. But he went down to some place called Ashkelon, and Samson put a beating on these guys from Ashkelon. Or he intimidated them, he grabbed them and said,
Give me your clothes, sucker! Give me your clothes.
So then Samson had kill what? The fly? So then Samson had his whole pile of clothes that he could give these Philistines that he I think Ashkelon is actually in Philistine, so he went to some other Philistines and snagged this things off other Philistines. The clothes, the garments. So, sort of funny. So apparently he took a goat. He, 'Cause, 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 ' at the time of harvest, it says, and went to visit his wife. And he went to go into her room, but her father was there and said, "No, you shall not pass." Rick, why wouldn't you tell me your life? You should know, Evan. Monday through Friday, I go live at noon. Thank God it wasn't me first. What wasn't you first? Getting the fly? Unfortunately, there's a couple more around too, so. I was so sure. So he's like, like, I thought you hated her. So the father, so she was like, I thought you hated her, so like I gave her to your companion. Careful, the flies could be a lead in the anime type life. So it's like, then he's like, why don't you have her younger sister? Isn't she even more attractive? I didn't realize that. That he, like, companion, he gives it to his, like, his best friend or something like that. And Samson's like, who did this? The Timonite son-in-law, because his wife So, Samson's all obviously mad. If you can say anything, those Philistines know. So, Samson, being ticked off, he went and caught 300 foxes. And I don't mean women. I mean the animal. That's a lot of foxes. But then he tied their tails together somehow. Imagine doing that, taking the time to do that. So you've got these foxes that are together with their tails tied. And then he lit their tails on fire. So, and then he released them into the fields of things, burning down the crops of the Philistines. Well, I'd say he's a bit sadistic. Samson. No, you don't want to take this lesson blown out model for a test drive. I wish my father would go. Yeah, it was also a different day and age back then, too. And when the Philistines found out he did this, because of what had happened to him, the Philistines went and burned their house down. A lot of fire in this thing with them in there. So the father was in there, and the girl was in there, his wife. That would make the holidays less painful. Yes, it would. So Samson then's like, you killed my wife and her dad. You're gonna all suffer. So then they're like, okay, we need to take Samson out. And at this time, while they're starting to plot against him, he had gone down south to some place called the Rock of Etam. He stayed in a cave. For a while there. Big plans for a pandemic Halloween. You have big plans for a pandemic Halloween? I'm going to be probably watching some movie over on Discord, Christopher. Right now, I haven't changed it, but I've half been convinced to. I just don't know what to watch. Was going to watch the Fast and Furious 8. And give me a second, I need to get some more paper. So while there, the townsman said, I merely did to them what they did to me. Oh. Oh, no bobbing for apples at the church or trick-or-treating. No. Well, a lot of stuff is closed. I don't think the church has any Halloween. The church that I'm going to now doesn't usually do anything major for Halloween. Well, they used to like rent a skating rink or something like that, so kids could skate at night, and they'd buy a whole bunch of candy and all that, or get people to give a whole bunch of candy and or donate, and then they divide it up and give it to people. But again, with the pandemic, nothing like that's happening. And I'm a little bit old for trick or treating, and I've got no kids. But while they were at this, he was at this rock. Like I said, they're plotting. So they took 3,000 guys. So that's a lot of guys. Well, these, and they went down to where he was. Do you pass out candy? We have before, but I'm in an apartment building now, so when we were in a house, we did so sometimes. Not that often, though. So, they're like, that would be a fun live stream. What, me handing out candy? And they're like, we have to do to him what he did to us. Like I said, 3,000 went down to see him. And he said, oh, and these were actually men from Judah. From, so where he's from. These are Israelite men. Came down to see him and said, what the heck you doing? You're putting us all in danger. Doing what you did. I don't know how me handing out candy would be fun to watch. And they said, we've come to tie you up and hand you over to the Philistines. And then, he's like, swear to me that you won't kill yourselves. Hey, Lorenzo. And they agreed. And they said, oh, he said, no, not yourselves. Swear to me you won't kill me yourselves. If you have any comic books, you could hand those out too. Yeah, I could. I do have some of mine, but I wouldn't want to hand out too many. So they tied him up, handed him over. They said, "We will tie you up only and hand you over. We will not kill you." So they bound him with 2 new ropes and led him up from the rock. As he approached Lee, the Philistines came towards him shouting. And then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him. He broke the ropes. So he was bound by ropes. And then he broke the ropes. There goes the pieces of rope. Didn't Moses beat a Philistine with his staff in the movie? No, an Egyptian. Lorenzo. And just was, I'm not sure what it was with, but not necessarily his staff. And like I said, he broke the bar things, picked up a donkey jawbone. I'm not sure exactly what a donkey jawbone looks like. And then Samson proceeded to give them there Philistines a smackdown. With the donkey jawbone that was in his hand. I don't know what a donkey jawbone looks like. So we're just going to make it look like that. And we're going to make the face. So, and he gave the Philistines, like I said, a big smackdown, because there was 1,000 of them. What's the difference between magic Moses' staff and a magic wand? Okay, first of all, is this a joke, Lorenzo? And if it's not a joke, I don't. If it's a joke, what? If it's a legitimate question, try and give some sort of answer. So, yeah. We have Samson victorious over 1,000 different people. Not really, because the staff didn't do all the quote unquote stuff. It was God that was doing it. Because what was it? The staff itself that changed it? Was the power in the staff? No. The power was in God. Okay, just because he lived in Egypt at the time, that has nothing to do with magic wands, Mom. Like, so yeah, he and there was no power in his, like I said, there was no power in his staff in and of itself. Magic wands, I think, are supposed to have power in them somehow. Perhaps that's the. So yeah, Samson took out 1,000 Philistines with that jawbone. Is the wand itself magic, or do the spirits supposedly allow it to work? Well, it could be the whichever lore you're going with. I think Lorenzo. I think if you like I think Harry Potter. I think the wands might be magical. actually supposed to have power in them or whatever. Or it's a way for somebody to focus their magic or their abilities. There's no technical power in it, but it's a focusing tool for them. And then I think probably mainly it's all just focusing tools, but I think some stuff with people that use magic wands, it's the wand itself. So he just taking out these 1,000 guys. That's going to take a little bit. So he was like, thirsty, agua, agua. I don't know how to make it, so somebody's like, water. But the Moses' staff, magic evil spirits. Yeah, they were able to make their things into snakes too. But they weren't able to do everything Moses did, and you got to remember, not everything did Moses do with the staff. Again, it was magic wands are used by evil spirits, not God. Well, actually, they're used by people, not God.
Some people need to read the Bible.
Yeah.
Exodus.
Yeah, I think he knows that. Where it's from. Agua. And some place, this place, Leah, God allowed to water to come out. So we have water gushing out of this hollow place in Lee. And then Samson cupped his hands and drank. But, what was I saying? But as for Moses once used his staff to heal. Well, first of all, I wouldn't say Moses used it necessarily. Moses was told by God to tap the rock, like go like this. He was told, like, just tap it like that or something like that to get the water came out. But instead of going like, just that, touching it or whatever, he went wham! He really smacked it. And yeah, that's like one of the things that got him not to be able to go in the promised land. Everything he did with the staff was at God's command. So it's and when he drank, he was revived. Didn't he forget to say a prayer first that time? Technically, depends. He didn't pray before doing everything. Well, I guess in a sense he did, because he'd go to God and say, "Hey, the thirsty," or whatever, and like, here, let me bring that up on here. So Moses strikes the rock. Okay, so the whole Israel community set out from the desert of Sin, traveling from place to place. The Lord commanded the camp at Rabbahidim, but there was no water there for the people to drink. So they quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink." Moses replied, "Why do you quarrel with me? Why do you put the Lord to the test?" The people were thirsty for the water, and they grumbled against Moses, and they said, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt to make us and our children and livestock die of thirst?" Moses cried out to the Lord, "What am I to do with these people? They are almost ready to stone me." The Lord answered Moses, "Go out in front of the people, take some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand the staff with which you struck the Nile, and go. I will stand there before you by the rock of Horeb. Strike the rock, and water will come out of it for the people to drink." So Moses did this in the sight of the elders at Meribah, because the Israelites quarreled, and because they tested the Lord, saying, "Is the Lord God among us or not?" Okay, so I'm not sure whether that's quite the same what you're talking about. I thought he was not. I think I read remembering that wrong. Unless it's a different place where he's supposed to just tap it and then he strikes the rock. I thought there, like you said, I thought there was something in there that was the reason. And that's in Exodus chapter 17, verses 1 through 7. And now I was reading out of the NIV version.
Mom, you realize you're saying stuff that I said like 5 minutes ago? You might actually want to listen to what's being said. The sound is off on that. What, can you not hear it from the TV? Right now, when you said about tapping, you had it on?
Sorry. uh, so, after he took out 1,000 guys and got the water, he led Israel for 20 years. So, obviously, I'd say it wasn't necessarily tapping the rock instead of he struck. I can't, with having read it in Exodus 17, I think it was. I'm not sure whether that had to do with him not being able to enter the promised land or something else. But kind of like how he smashed the Ten Commandments. Nah. So this has to be 20 years later. Delilah is 20 years later. And then says one day he went to Gaza. So we got good old Samson going on a trip. So he's probably haven't had a wife in like 20 years. And who knows whatever ounce, these guys have done for 20 years. So he's going to Gaza. And the people are, Gaza are like, the Philistines there are like, let's kill him. Done. Not killing them at high noon, but at dawn. But Samson got up in the middle of the night. In the middle of your night, when your dreams have been put to flight. He got up and took the doors of the city gate. So we got Samson. What the? The doors of the city gate. And he carried them all the way to the top of a hill of Habor. So he put the gates way up here. The doors. So they're up out of the way. I don't know why he did that. But sometime later, he was in the valley of Sorek. Hey, is that Spock's father? No. That sounds Vulcan to me. Live long and prosper. Live and be well. But while he was there, he met another beautiful woman. And can you guess what this beautiful woman's name was? Anybody? Anybody guess what this beautiful woman's name was? Oh, I'm sure you probably guessed it. Yes, it was Delilah. And Delilah was delightful to the eyes. Apparently, because she was a very beautiful woman. And everybody know the Philistine, and she was a Philistine. Well, I'm not even sure whether she was Philistine here, because it says sometime later he was in the valley. He fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek. Her name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, "See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength, and how we can overpower him and tie him up and subdue him. Each of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver." Each. It doesn't say how many there is. So it doesn't say Delilah was necessarily a Philistine. One assumes this. I don't know nothing about the Valley of Sorek. So, that could, tell you a lot too. So she's then seeing dollar signs. Cha-ching! So, of course, she says, "Honey Bunch, they'll just sit down one afternoon, laying down, looking lovely into each other's eyes." He's laying on her lap. She's got her hands around in his hair. Wikipedia, which is not always accurate, stated that the Philistines bribed her. Yeah, they did bribe her with 1,100 shekels each. It says that right there. Verse 5. But it doesn't say how many it says the rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, it doesn't say how many rulers there were. We don't know a lot. Well, I don't know anything about the Valley of Sorek, but Philistine leaders were there. But maybe they just found out that he liked a woman, fell in love with a woman in the Valley of Sorek, and went to her in the Valley of Sorek. She could have been Israeli or something other than Philistine. I don't know. I'm just saying we assume. She's like, tell me your great strength. How do you get all that lovely strength? My bow. And then he's like, shekels made of silver. Lorenzo. Because it says 1,100 shekels of silver, so shekels made of silver. And he says, hey, you get 7 bowstrings. Well, fresh bowstrings. 7 fresh bowstrings. And I can be tied up. It'll make me like any other man. So, they tie him up with the bowstring. They get him. They tie him up with the bowstrings. And he's like, ah! 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 Oof! There goes the bowstring! Fooled ya! The bowstrings just go flying off in every direction. There's always more. There's more than Judas. That's way more than Judas received. I think he only received a week's wages. However, it was enough to buy Potter's Field. Yeah, he received 30 something. 30 pieces of silver. Doesn't say how big the silver pieces were either. Oh, sorry, Lorenzo. And then he's like, Delilah. Delilah's like, she's like, you made a fool of me. She was not happy. You lied to me. Tell me how you can be tied. You know, my thing is, okay, he told you the wrong way once. What makes you think he's going to tell you the right way the second time you ask? But then again, you know, like, I guess the greed of, 1,100 shekels of silver. Yeah. Times by, at this point, we don't know how many people. Let's see whether we can find out an answer to that. How many Philistine rulers were there in Samson's day? Did Samson have a bear's head in that drawing? No, I think they just got him very hairy. He was drawn in, this is just the style of the time. Artist interpretation. No. Oh, you're probably. Which picture are you talking about? Are you making your own drawing based off of a Christian book? No. I was thinking. I'm looking at some stuff on Thing. Online. Trying to find out approximately how many rulers there would have been at that Samson, to how much money did she actually get or was supposed to get. I'm guessing he has a Hara suit. If I ever drew up Samson, I think he would be good looking. Probably be average height, average build. There wouldn't be much to give away that why. And I don't even think he would have necessarily long hair. I don't think he would be looking much different than any other Israelite at the time. He wouldn't stand out that much, I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, once you got to know what he looked like, yeah, you could spot him, but if he had longer hair than anybody else, that's something they might suspect would be his great strength, the source of his great strength. If he had super bulging muscles, again, that's something they might suspect would be to me anyways, would be the source of his great strength. All the watching house was full of lords. Oh, I thought maybe he had long hair, like someone who took the vow. Well, he did have the vow of the Nazarene, Lorenzo, but that doesn't mean he had long hair. Just means he never cut his hair or was never supposed to cut his hair. So I can't. It's quoting a passage here for how many rulers there were. It says all the Philistine rulers were there, and there were about 3,000 men and women on the roof who were watching as Samson amused them. Now the house was full of men and women. All the lords of the Philistines were there, and on the roof, and there were about 3,000 men and women. So it's the lords plus them, so it doesn't exactly say how many Philistine rulers there were. Because as you probably may or may not know, everybody's different on how long their hair will grow or whatever. So maybe it was just in his genetics, or maybe God naturally made it so his hair would, grow to normal hair would be around then. Because if everybody else can cut their hair, right? But yeah, if they're each given 1,000, 1,100 each, who knows? You know, that could have been, if there was 5 rulers, that's, you know, like 5,500 shekels of gold. Or shekels of silver, sorry. If there's 10, that's like 11,000. If there's 20, that's like 22,000. Yeah, he was too. One could take for John the Baptist and for Samson, it was forced on them from birth. That was determined before they were born for them. So yeah, like her grade probably definitely got the best of her. So you know, like she asked again. And this time he says, hey, yeah, if you get some new ropes. Yeah, I'm going to be as weak as any ordinary man. So, you know, again, they get the rope. They tie them up with ropes. This time they go maybe a little overboard. Here, we'll put them all over him. He's not going to be able to move an inch. We'll tie all the ropes down. And again, he's like, suckers! Oh, I clicked on the King's Kids link. Paul Vanella is quite talented. Okay. That should have been linked to my shop. Are you grabbing the right link, Mom? Do I have the right link in my shop? Oh, my mom's not grabbing the right shop. She's only grabbing part of the link.
You might want to make sure you grab a whole link next time. Because you only got like half of it. You sent it to somebody else's.
Here, Lorenzo, let me give you the real link. I see. It's a pretty cool shop then. Okay, so yeah, he's like, I'm just doing the whole bulging muscles here for effect. He's like, yeah, fooled you again. And he said, he was like, if anybody ties me securely with the new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man. So Delilah took new ropes and tied them. Then, with men hidden in the room, she called him, Samson, the Philistines are upon you! But he snapped the ropes off his arms as if they were threads. Delilah then said to Samson, all this time you've been making a fool of me, lying to me. How can you be tied? She's like, yeah, because Lorenzo, I grabbed the one right from my description. Here, Lorenzo, I'll get you the Teespring one too. Copy link address. Mom, when you do it, copy link address and then just paste that. And then, oh, that doesn't allow you to hit enter. Okay. There. Mine should work, Lorenzo. It's difficult to make these e-commerce sites work. I have that problem when I showed my friends stuff from Amazon. like, you to beg you up. So, tells her another false way. She believes it. Makes him fool over the third time. And then finally he tells her about, the thing. Getting his hair cut. And then she cuts his hair. He's as weak as a baby, a minute-old baby kitten. The Philistines get him. He, of course, is captured, put into mating and labor. They end up bringing him out to make him entertain them. He's put against a couple of pillars, and then he brings down the house. Apparently he was the best actor ever. He brought down the house. He's the best actor in the Bible by bringing down the house. He brought down the whole darn stadium. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming by. I hope you liking this Bible stuff. We trying to quickly draw this stuff up. I'm not sure what people are thinking of it. This is the second time I did it. I did it with David a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure who I'll do next week. So I guess we'll hopefully see you tonight on After Dark. We'll catch everybody later. Bye for now. God bless. Love you all. Have a great and wonderful